Hey guys, it's Jessey from PS4Day.com here, and today on PSN Weekly, I'm taking a look at The Last Tinker City of Colors by Me Productions. This is just one of the many games that I had the opportunity to play at E3 2014. Interestingly enough though, I kind of stumbled upon this game at E3. It wasn't one of the ones that I was actively seeking out. I was just kind of wandering this Sony booth at E3 and bam! I ran into The Last Tinker, and I was kind of amused by how, like, the thing that caught my eye about it was how rich and how colorful the game was. That's not really something you see too much in today's games. What with the brown and green color palette of most of the more public and popular games that we saw last generation, and we're kind of shifting away from that with this generation, but we haven't exactly entered the period where we're still seeing, where we're gonna see, a lot of different colors in too many games these days. So it was nice seeing a game that had so many just beautiful colors, and I really enjoyed that. And there's actually another part of The Last Tinker that I really like, but I will mention that in just a second. But as for the story mode in The Last Tinker, that's pretty interesting, and it is one of the main focuses of the game itself. So the game takes place in the aptly named Color Town, a town that's been, I guess, segregated, willingly segregated, I suppose, by its colors, its dominant colors, which are red, blue, and green. So you have the red district, the blue district, and the green district, each which houses citizens of that certain color. And what I found interesting about this is that it brings up some interesting plot points to the game, and plot points that are used a lot, or at least brought up a lot in the game's narrative, and even just by the citizens when you're walking around and chatting with them, when you're exploring Color Town as Koru, the game's main character. So, red citizens, they're more prone to anger issues, especially the red spirit. Green citizens, I haven't actually encountered green citizens quite yet. I'm pretty far into the game. I think I'm about halfway in, I believe, maybe somewhere around there. And while blue citizens, I think they're more, sad and more the shy type. But yeah, so I think it's pretty interesting, and a lot of the characters do bring up the fact that they hate the people of the other colors, and that was it was pretty shocking to see that kind of attitude displayed in a game like this, a game that's so colorful, and a game that you would initially expect to be so child friendly, when it has these little overt undertones that kind of bring up these these issues, I guess. But there is a certain place where all the characters converge, and that's the market. And here is where, citizens from each of the three districts can come together. They can mingle, they can just chat and have some fun, and they sell each other goods. And this is where you're gonna get most of your interaction with the most diverse variety of people or citizens in The Last Tinker. This place is huge and has a lot of NPCs, and because of that, the frame rate drops quite a bit in this area. In fact, the thing I hated the most about The Last Tinker, and the thing that surprised me the most about the game, was the fact that The Last Tinker City of Colors has a really bad problem with keeping up a consistent frame rate. Whenever there are a lot of NPCs on the screen, or whenever you're engaging in a very heated battle, you're gonna find times where the frame rate of The Last Tinker is gonna drop, and it's gonna drop a lot. That's one of the things I first noticed, even when I was in the outer world, which is the starting area of the game, another area where there are going to be a lot of citizens from different districts, but you're not going to see as wide a variety or as you would in the marketplace. But it's one of the things I noticed when I was first starting up The Last Tinker, and it really bothered me. Now, frame rate's not something that's okay. No, frame rate is a huge deal for me, especially after playing Assault on Cactus on the PC. That's when I really noticed how important keeping up a 60 frames per second is. But a game like this is the first instance where I've seen frame drops really affect me. It got to the point where I was playing The Last Tinker and it kind of made me sick to my stomach. Like, that's something I found to be really weird, having that really weird reaction from the constant frame rate drop. So I think that's something you guys should take into consideration when you're thinking about buying The Last Tinker. If bad frame rates really affect you, then this might not be the title for you. But another thing I wanted to note was the fact that The Last Tinker is different from the myriad of indie titles that we've seen on the PS4 or even PS3 and PS Vita, in that it's not a 2D side-scrolling platformer like so many indie games have taken a liking to these days, but instead it's a 3D platformer, more in the style of Jak and Daxter on PlayStation 2 or the Banjo-Kazooie series. It's actually an homage to those games, and it does take some it did remind me of those two games whilst I was playing The Last Tinker. I found another thing that was interesting. It's not only those two games, but because it's a 3D platformer and because it does have combat sections, Mimimi Productions, the developer of the game, decided to take the Arkham Asylum or Arkham City or whichever Arkham game you want to choose, the Arkham series way of fighting in 3D third-person 3D games that we've seen so prevalent these days, and use it in The Last Tinker. Now, that's not necessarily a problem in itself. It's a good system by all means, but the thing I didn't like about this was the fact that they took the system, but they didn't take the countering aspect of it. So when a guy is about to hit you, the only thing you can do is dodge to the left or dodge to the right in some very dramatic fashion, as Koru is a monkey, so he's gonna jump around a lot. But I would have preferred being able to actually counter an attack, because there were those moments where I was in the heat of battle and I was attacking maybe a giant monster, and then boom, I get blindsided by an enemy's, maybe an enemy's sludge attack or something of that nature, and maybe that killed me, or maybe that got my health down to half, and it's something that really bothered me as I got further and further into The Last Tinker. But I'm sure for you guys, maybe you guys are more aware of what's going on in your surroundings during the heat of battle. So, as the name implies, the City of Colors, color plays a huge role in The Last Tinker, and it's actually the main, like I said before, it's the main plot point. Now, see, in The Last Tinker, Koru accidentally unearths this thing called the Bleakness, which is going to the three districts, outer world included, or outer district included, and sucking the color away from its citizens and encasing them in this, I guess, this hard shell casing, so they're just kind of laying there asleep or something. And so that's gonna bring the citizens of these three districts together, because you have to help them out. And Koru's gonna seek out each of the three spirits from the three districts, the red spirit, the green spirit, and the blue spirit. He's gonna seek them out because he needs their power and their help to stop the Bleakness. And I found this really interesting because it did force the citizens to kind of band together and fight. Well, not necessarily fight, but put aside their differences. And hopefully, I'm really hoping that we do have a good resolution, and it makes sense when everybody possibly even reunites the districts, and it's not just red, blue, green district, but it's just Color Town in general. But anyway, that's what I think about the plot so far. That's really all I have to say about The Last Tinker City of Colors. It's a really fun game, but the frame rate really bogs it down to the point where I can't exactly give it a recommendation at this point in time, just because that is something that really affected me, and that's something that's incredibly bothersome. But like I said before, if frame rate's not really that big of an issue for you guys, then by all means get The Last Tinker City of Colors. It's a fun game, and if frame rate doesn't affect you, then it's probably something you don't want to miss out on. At the moment of the moment of this hands-on preview, The Last Tanker should be available for $19.99 on PSN with a PlayStation Plus discount that I think brings it down to $13.99 or somewhere in that ballpark. So anyway guys, I'm Jesse with PS4daily.com, and I'll see you guys later.
Here!